Okay, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am Moses Andre,
I'm Danell Lewis.
and we are the hosts of the Value Menu podcast, where value is served at no cost to you. And we have a very, very special guest with us today, and I got to give a bio for this special individual. His name is Michael Corbitt Jr., a financial advisor with Stephen NG Financial Group, where he is dedicated to helping his clients grow, protect, and leverage their wealth. With nearly 15 years of experience in financial services, including time at Wells Fargo, Michael brings expertise in wealth management, retirement planning, and investment strategies, along with trust, integrity, and personal care clients value in an advisor. A man of faith, Michael is also passionate about advancing financial literacy and empowering individuals and families to achieve long-term success and security. Beyond his advisory work, he is a real estate investor, Airbnb Superhost, and avid traveler who has been to over 10 countries. He has also served as board treasurer for the Urban League of Essex County Young Professionals, championing financial education and community advancement. Let's give another round of applause for
Now
that.
for sure.
Appreciate y'all, boy.
Man, thank you for coming.
Thank you, man. Appreciate y'all, boy.
sure.
Appreciate you for,
Appreciate this, man.
making time for us. I feel like we got an important conversation that's very important for our community. Beyond what I just said, tell us a little bit more about you.
Well, first, let me say thank you again.
Yeah.
For you fellas having me up here. I had the opportunity to review the podcast and kind of see the work that you gentlemen are doing. And not only is it important, but it's necessary.
Absolutely.
In the times that we're living in, the society that we're coming up in, and we're the new adults now.
Yeah.
The value that you guys
Indeed.
are adding with us being the new adults is important, not just for us, but for our community at large, man. And hopefully we can have some real conversations today.
Yeah.
Cater to our people, which is where I'm most passionate, is helping our people in the world of finance. But yeah, man, I'm just a kid from East Orange, New Jersey, born and raised there. Come from a very humble background, humble beginnings. Former athlete myself as well, and I just love to serve, and that's what I've come from. Man. I come from a family where my parents have been married, 42 years. They've been together over 50.
That's
and
beautiful. Shout out to Black
Yeah,
Love.
shout out to
No,
Black
for
Love,
sure.
man. And
Shout out
that's
to
something
Black Love,
they've
man.
Love that
instilled in
one.
my younger brother and I since we were born is the ability of service. Service to the Lord, service to your family, and service to your community. And I've just been blessed and fortunate to find my passion in the world in the lane of finance as a financial advisor, and being able to give back, man, and being able to open up doors that weren't open up for me, to give access and information that wasn't provided to me or wasn't provided to our prior generations of our elders and our communities to be able to make sure that we're a part of the wealth creation that's coming and the wealth transfer that's coming down the line as well.
No, I love that. I love that for
Yeah,
sure.
I want to get right into this.
I'm ready, fellas. Listen, man, I'm ready. I've been excited for this too.
Nah, you had a there was a point where you said it was God,
Mhm.
believe self,
And family.
and then family.
Yeah.
That's
When it comes to service,
amazing.
man, you have to serve the Lord first. And
Gotta serve the
I'm
Lord
a
for
man and
sure.
a believer of God. That's the head of my life, and I'm nothing without Him.
Amen.
There's nothing
Amen.
that I have in this life that hasn't been, and I cannot accredit to the man upstairs. But that's what it's about: service to the Lord, service to your family, and service to your community.
Yeah.
And finding something that you're passionate about. If you can monetize it as well, that's awesome too. Because even in the Word of the Lord, it's nothing wrong with having wealth in the Bible. And it says that you should acquire wealth, but in that, be a good steward of it and be able to give back and uplift others with the wealth that you acquire. So
Absolutely.
that's what it is, man.
That's-
Service to yourself, to God, and to your community and your family, man.
That's well said.
That's what I love to do.
nah. Couldn't have said any better for sure. I just dive right into it. So, being you do a lot and then on a daily basis you have clients. So, what is one financial principle that you teach your clients every day that you believe that everyone should use in their personal life?
That's a great question, and there's a lot of principles that we can take in life, right? There's a lot of foundational things. I just look at life like a house, and every house needs a strong foundation, right? But when you try to just compartmentalize that into one word that comes to mind is the word discipline. right? Discipline. And that's something that can apply to your finances, but just also to life and whatever journey that you may be on in life, whether it's a financial journey, a spiritual journey, a fitness journey, a mental health journey, whatever it may be. Discipline is the key to that. And I'm a big proponent of a man by the name of Warren Buffett. I'm sure you guys have heard of him before. I follow just about everything that he says, posts. I've read his books. And I love some of the quotes that he said over the course of his life. And you'll probably hear a few of them throughout our conversation today. And one that I love is that you don't have to be smarter than everyone else, but you have to be more disciplined than everyone else to succeed. Absolutely. That's the biggest thing, is to be more disciplined. And when I think about it from a wealth perspective, money is just as important as the habits that you create as the assets themselves, right? Because if you don't have good habits, your assets aren't going to grow. And how do you create good habits? By having discipline and structure. And in that discipline and structure, something that I will always tell our people, and the first thing is that we have to start to treat ourselves the same way we do our daily responsibilities, right? So we all have bills, correct? Right? Rent, mortgage, car payment, car insurance, life expenses. I'm not sure if you gentlemen have children, but children expenses, whatever it may be. We all have bills and responsibilities. And we all try to pay them on time, right?
No, for sure.
All try to pay them on time. Why aren't we treating ourselves the same way? Why aren't we treating ourselves like a bill and paying ourselves? Because if you have the discipline and the structure to realize, hey, listen, I'm no different than any other bill I have to pay on a regular basis, you'll be pouring into yourself the same way. And that's across the board. Financially, you should be paying yourself. Every time I get paid, I'm going to pay my mortgage. I need to put some money aside for my future, for myself, and an investment in myself. You got to take care of your body. Whatever it is, you got to pour into that and pay yourself and treat yourself like a
personal development.
Personal development. And that's the one word I would use to describe across the basis, whether it's money or life. Discipline, man.
Love them.
A lot of people don't have discipline.
They don't.
I feel like, especially now in today's society, you have so many things. A lot of people are disciplined when it comes to like unhealthy habits.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's kind of a little. Sometimes it's backwards, right? But I think it also goes back to what people find priority in and what people put priority in.
Absolutely.
I know a person who religiously, not that there's anything wrong with it, plays the game every time they get off work. That same time you could be dedicating to something that's, I don't think playing games, gives you value in a way.
Unless you making money off of it, like you're streaming or something.
That is true. There are streamers who monetize it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But it becomes a job. That's working at that point, though.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
I mean, as a hobby. Like,
absolutely. As a hobby, for sure.
Right. When it's a hobby, it's not. Is it really? I don't think it's providing value in a way. So you could kind of take that same effort and put it to a different type of, that's maybe even reading a book for half that time, 30 minutes, go on a light jog, something that builds habits. It affects your health, it affects your wealth, it affects something, right? But I think a lot of people have a problem with like clinging to something for a long period of time.
Agreed.
That's why businesses fail. That's why, that's just why a lot of things just don't go the way they want it.
No adaptability.
Yeah. So my next question to you, right? What's a common finance mistake or money mistake that you see in a lot of your clients nowadays? Yeah.
That's a good one too, right?
Yeah.
Because there's so many mistakes that I do see. And actually, my senior advisor at my firm, he wrote a book called The 10 Financial Mistakes That You Should Avoid. And I love a philosophy, and something that I live by as well, is that, when you make a mistake, it can be costly, right? But when you learn from others, it's free. And that's a part of life that we always have to understand, is that mistakes are going to happen, but you either need to pay the price for them or learn from other people's mistakes, and free. And for our community, man, if we have a real conversation when it comes to our community, what I see when it comes to the biggest struggle is living beyond your means. That's the biggest thing that I see now.
That's a big one.
Being
man.
real with you, man. Now, as an advisor, I'm one of those type of financial advisors. I will tell my clients, man, you got to live your life, man. You only get one of these things on earth, and you got to live it to the best of your ability. But you got to prioritize differently as well too. And I think a common mistake and a misconception of our people is that they just automatically attribute high income to financial stability. But that's not necessarily the case. And it's not, because when you think about my first point I made in the first question, is that money is just as much about your habits as it is the assets that you have. And I think sometimes, when you get that pay raise that you've been waiting on at work, maybe your first option shouldn't be to go, let me go buy some new clothes or go on a shopping spree at the mall.
Nah, for sure.
You get a big bonus from your job, and the first thing you shouldn't be thinking about is what new car I'm going to do, or maybe go on a splurge on a vacation, if you're not where you need to be, where that stuff is a surplus and not a necessity and a need, right?
I want to touch on that just a little bit. I think a common misconception with finances, period, is that we tend to, in our community especially, we tend to think that when income grows, lifestyle has to grow.
Exactly.
And I feel like it should be the opposite. You should want to, just keep growing until you get to the point where you can kind of live comfortably and do whatever. There's systems in place that's going to keep you from staying financially intact.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? I just wanted to put that in there because, you don't have to buy something every time you get a raise.
You don't.
You don't have to.
Right? So that's the biggest misconception, because I see it every day. People live beyond their means.
Yep.
And it's oftentimes to put on a front or a facade for people who probably really don't even care about you.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like the show.
Don't really care that much about something that's not that deep. But again, I'm the type of advisor where I like nice things. I got a nice little sweater on today. I'm about being able to enjoy the fruits of your labor. But you have to do so in a way that's conducive and always elevating. Another part of that to me too is that I prioritize planning over reacting. Right? You have people who live a reactionary life. You have people who live a visionary life. And I prefer to be one of those people that have a visionary life. And I've always lived my life that way, in the structure of discipline of planning out my life. So for me personally, I always do things like a 5-year window, right? Mm-hmm. And I can think of my most recent one when I was 25. I had a lot of goals, but those major goals was, listen, I want to be able to drive a fly car. I want to be able to buy my first house. And I want to be entrenched in my career and starting to build a business in the financial advisory space. That was when I was 25. All right, by 27, I was driving a brand new 535 BMW. By 30, I bought my first house. By 28, I was entrenched in my career and starting to make value and impact in people's lives in the financial advisory space. And that's just all into, listen, I don't care about trying to live above my means. It's about having a structure and discipline of growing and understanding, listen, as I grow a little bit, live a little bit. Grow a little more, you live a little more. And you got to kind of keep that philosophy. And that's where I just see a lot of our people, man, they struggle with it. There's a terminology of, they're house rich and cash poor. And that may not apply to house, but it's to fabrics, it's to material things, it's to experiences in life that, yes, it's awesome to have them, but not at the expense of not building for your future as well, right? There's another quote I love too, and it's that you should live each day like it's going to be your last, but you should plan each day as if you're going to live forever. And that's a balance that you have to walk and understand that not a lot of people have. And oftentimes people are just so focused on today and living for today and acquiring everything today and not really planning out for the future, and they end up overliving what they have, man, and outliving their means, and that's a serious problem in our community.
No, for sure. Like,
Gems.
So definitely living beyond means is really, 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 really a struggle.
Yeah, man.
In our community, like especially like, I don't know what it is, like to show off. I don't know if it's social media that they see somebody else with this and they must have it. It's like a competition, but it's just like you said, you live today like almost as your last, but you're also planning for forever. You know what I'm saying? So
exactly.
You want to be able to do something, consistent and not just like something that's very temporary. Like you want to have something that it's gonna help you furthermore, and I want to say the end of things, but like you said, like forever.
But forever, it's a balance. You gotta live today. You gotta enjoy your life today, but you also have to plan for tomorrow.
Yeah, you gotta also live for today so you could continue to enjoy tomorrow and the next week and the next month.
Exactly.
With living beyond your means, like for a person that's living paycheck to paycheck, what is the first step to creating financial stability?
Well, I think the first step is, before you do anything, principally, writing anything down or acting on anything is you got to have clarity and awareness of where you are in life, right? That's just a lot of people living like a la land, right? Or they living just at a facade, or they just kind of are entrenched in this thing that we have called the internet, and in particular social media, where everything looks like it's, roses and everything just looks good, and it's not really real, right? When we think of the reality of life and the reality of society that we live in today, 70% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. That's the reality, right? 70% of Americans don't have $300 to $500 in their savings account for an emergency.
Wow.
And that's the real life, right? And so first and foremost, it's about having clarity and awareness of just understanding what the reality of the world is. And then from there, once you have that understanding and you're logically thinking the right way, you understand that Rome wasn't built in a night. It wasn't built overnight. Things take time. And in that, now you have to get to work. And what does that work look like? And for me as a financial advisor, if I have someone come to me and that's the place that they're in, it's paycheck to paycheck, my plan then becomes is how do we get you to the place of having disposable income, right? And what is disposable income? All disposable income is simply the assets you have severely outweigh the liabilities that you have going out. And how do you get there? It may be first and foremost, we have to pay off the debt that you have and pay that down. And once we're able to get that paid to a place where it's either paid off or comfortable enough to fit within your budget to do other things, then we start building that emergency savings plan. Because you need to have that. And then once we get to the point of now my debt's paid down or off, I have an emergency savings plan, now I can start using that disposable income of money that I have to start to invest in myself and start to do what everybody should do. Every person in this country, every person in this world should have a mindset of getting to a place of where my money works for me. And that's the end goal. But from that place of paycheck to paycheck, you got to start from the ground up and understand Rome wasn't built in a night, and just start to get to the place of a snowball effect that turns into an avalanche. We all know how an avalanche starts. It starts off with one little snowflake.
Small,
and that snowflake attaches to another, to another, to another, to another. And over time, you just see an avalanche. And all we really see is the end product of this big old avalanche coming down a mountain or a hill, and don't realize what it took to get there. And as long as you have those principles, you'll be fine. But that's what you have to start off at. And it all starts with just a self-awareness and clarity of awareness of where you are in life.
For sure.
Beautifully said. Damn. Okay. Yeah, all right. So my next question actually would be, how do you help them set a realistic financial plan? Like what's the starting point? So a person living beyond their means, right? They want to start from ground zero. I know you said paying off debt, right? What's some other ways? Let's say they want to have, I know you said a bunch of people don't have $300 in their savings. That's crazy.
70%, man.
And they want to have, I don't know, 10,000, 20,000, right? And stocks, what's a realistic financial plan? How do you start that conversation?
So first thing is I got a motto for anybody in that space. The motto is progress over perfection.
Yep.
Right. And understanding it's going to take time. It's not overnight that this is going to happen. And then it goes back to some of my original points from there of just planning. You've got to plan, right? We all have goals. And I'm a big proponent of you never shut anybody's dreams down or their goals in life. Whatever their goals are, whatever their dreams are, you should support it. You should water it. You should put spotlight on it and then work with them to realistically achieve it. But another problem a lot of people have, right, is they'll have their goals, whether it's short-term, intermediate, long-term, whatever those goals are, they'll have them. But then they think they can accomplish them all in one night, all at the same time. And so the key part to that is to get started, you got to break it down and start to get like micro goals in place to be able to accomplish those. And instead of having, 20 goals that I'm all trying to accomplish at once, let's break those down. Let's get 2 goals, 3 goals, and let's set a timeline of when we're going to do that. Okay, so we want to start with paying off debt. Okay, I have XYZ amount of dollars in debt. That's my first goal. We need to get rid of that. So let's break that down. How does that look? So you know what? In 6 months, we're going to take the current assets we have. We're going to shut other things down. We're going to take these 6 months to pay down our debt. And it may be through the snowball effect, which is, hey, look, we got 3 credit cards, $6,000 in debt across all of them. We'll take the smallest debit card amount. We'll try to put the most money on that one and make minimum payments on the other ones until that one's paid off. And then you keep doing it. But you set realistic goals and you break them down. So after those 6 months, then we move to the next goal, which is now let's build up our savings. We'll do that in another 6 months. And then after that, we'll take 6 more months to build up enough where I have enough money to start investing in the market or investing in something else that will be able to either provide me additional income or whatever it may be. But just breaking down those small goals, right, in those 6 month intervals, now it's a year and a half later, and you've put yourself in a position to start being able to do different things, right? So just all goes to that. It's just being realistic and just breaking down the goals and not trying to do everything in one night. And understand, listen, I'm going to break it down. I'm going to do 2 or 3 goals this year, or these 6 months we're going to dedicate it to this too. And it's just putting in the work and trying to get 1% better every day. That's something else I live by too, is that it's impossible to try to grow 20, 30% every day.
Exactly.
But you can do 1%.
1%.
I think everybody's capable of getting to that 1% every day of just being better at 1%.
Sure.
With that 1%, you're getting better there. Over time, that 1% grows into something bigger. And that's my stance on that, man, is that wherever you are, you just got to just do the work.
Do you ever run into like hard-headed clients, like people that
All the time, man. And I mean, it depends on your definition of hard-headed, right? Some hard-headed clients are people who think they know more than you, which is okay. You know, you have hard-headed people who are what I call like rabbit holers.
Yeah.
You know, they're on YouTube or Reddit or whatever. They're going down these rabbit holes, listening to people who may not be expertise in the field that I'm in. You have hard-headed in several different ways. You have hard-headed people who just don't want to stay disciplined and stick to the plan that they put in place.
Absolutely.
There's levels to it, man. There's levels to it.
Like, so imagine someone who got, because there's some people who kind of get rich, like there's lucky people who get like
absolutely,
they get rich quick.
Yeah, people get struck by lightning every once in a while too, right? People hit the lottery every once in a while too. It happens,
right?
You know, it's not.
Then they come to you 3 months later.
Mm-hmm.
How do I manage my money, this and the forth?
Mm-hmm.
And you break it down, you break everything down, and you realize like, hey, you might want to get rid of this Rolls Royce. Or you might want to get something that they really like. They have sentimental value for it. And they're like, I don't want to get, like, I don't want. How do you fight that? Like, how do you?
Well, let's be clear. Right? So let's be clear, right? As a financial advisor, it's not my job to force you, twist your arm, or tell you what to do, right? My job as financial advisor is to do just what the second part of that role is advise, right? So I'm going to give you my thoughts and my opinions on what I think you should be doing based on what your current situation is. Whether or not you do it is up to you. You know, it's my job as a financial advisor to give you opinions, options, and access. What you do with those opinions, options, and access is completely up to you.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to sleep at night knowing that you made the decision that's best for you and your family. And be able to understand that, hey, I can sleep at night knowing that I did this or I did that or whatever it may be. That's what your decision is. And it's my job at that point to then support you in whatever it is you believe is the best decision based on the options I presented you and the opinions that I gave.
Mm-hmm. Nah, definitely heavy on that. I'm a travel advisor on behalf of Fora. Shout out to Fora. But
it's the same principle, right?
Same principle. Like, hey, D-Lou, like, I'm trying to go here, but I only got this. Oh, you know, I think you should probably go here. Oh, I don't want to go there.
Maybe well, I don't. Stay in this resort.
I think you should stay in this resort and not that resort. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? I would want you to actually like get your whole money's worth instead of like going out there and not be able to actually like leave a place where you're at. You know, so definitely like I'm gonna support you, but I can't twist your finger and I can't place you here and you know and everything. But like it's a great thing you said. But moving on to more goals and stuff. When you're helping clients, whether deciding to like invest in a company, what are key things that you encourage them to look into first?
That's a good question too. So I would start by saying this: as a financial advisor, my belief in my firm, we don't really do a lot of like single stock investing. That's not really our lane. We're more so holistic planners, and we use more portfolios.
ETFs?
More managed monies, ETFs, mutual funds. We kind of composite and create our own portfolios using intellect from our partners with different money managers that we use, and we composite and we come up with our own portfolios. But I would say is that, hey, listen, if I have a client who wants to add a single stock, or they want to do it on their own, which I'm sure we're probably getting some of that stuff too. Some of the things I would advise them to look at is, the revenue that company may be producing, whether it's a startup or whether it's something that's, been in existence like a blue chipper. It's been around for hundreds of years. It's never going anywhere. Checking into the leadership and what their ideology is and methodology is of what they believe in their product. And then another thing that honestly to me is extremely important is in identifying a good investment from a standpoint of a stock versus not. Is like Warren Buffett says, man, that's my guy, man. And Warren Buffett says if you find a stock that pays a dividend, then that's most likely a good company, because if they can pay a dividend, that normally means that they're healthy, that they have assets, that they have revenue coming in, and that they're a strong company that don't have plans on going anywhere. That would be my simple answer to that.
Nice. Okay. Can you, real quick, right, for those who kind of don't know what an ETF is, what a mutual fund is, can you kind of give just a brief explanation and why you would prefer that over a single?
Great question.
Great
question. Especially for people who are newer to investing, which I'm assuming the thing you're going to, right? So what an ETF is, which stands for Exchange Traded Fund, or a mutual fund, are pretty much a collection of different stocks in different sectors, from healthcare to AI to international technology, all these different things, right? And they're composited, and they're all of most likely a lot of people's favorite stocks anyway, right? Are in these different mutual funds and ETFs, right? And for me personally, if you're not a seasoned person who has the time and the education to do it on your own, it's a lot better to invest in a mutual fund or an ETF, because first and foremost, it just simplifies things for you. It's kind of like a set it and forget it philosophy and strategy, where you can just invest into it. You have money managers or financial advisors like myself who will manage it for you, and that kind of takes away the stress of you needing to know as much, because you have a professional that you're paying, or you're paying a fee for that particular fund to do that and invest in that. That's one. Two is diversification, because again, if you don't have the time and you're not a full-time investor, normally you're lacking two things. You're lacking the education and the knowledge to do it. Well, most people, you don't have the time. You got a life, you got a job, you got a career, you got a family, you got other interests that you're into. And so those are your focuses, or you don't have that. And so the other part of diversification is to just kind of make sure that you're not overexposed to one sector in the market or the other. When you're involved in mutual funds or ETFs, there's several different ones that will prioritize making sure you're diversified across the board, right? And you have your assets spread out, not just in one allocation strategy or the other. So those are the two biggest things that I stress, and I would recommend for newer investors, is to invest in ETFs and mutual funds, because it simplifies it for you, and it just diversifies for you too. So you don't have to do a lot of research on your own, and you don't have to worry about the time frame, because you can just go live your life, and it kind of does its thing for you at that point.
Flash question. Is investing optional anymore to you?
No, not in the current society that we're living in. We're moving into times, man, where the wealth gap is going to grow.
Absolutely.
And I've told anybody that will listen that the two biggest things is investment and ownership are going to be key in order to survive, let alone thrive, in this new society that we're coming up in. Is you have to have ownership in something, and you got to start investing your money. Because at the end of the day, what I said at the beginning, gentlemen, in the first couple questions, is we all have to get to the place where your money is working for you, where you're waking up making money, where you're going to sleep making money, where you're at work and you're making money. That is the process that every American should be striving to get to, and it's becoming a necessity that way. How many people do you guys know that work just one job?
In 2025?
And surviving off of
Are we
one
counting?
income.
Are we Oh, one income?
On
Oh,
one
no.
income, yeah.
Not happening.
Because
right?
I was going to
Nah.
ask you, are you counting side business?
Think about it.
Side business and then like
It's all the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Let's just look at you read off that wonderful bio, and I thank you so much for it, man. You made me sound even bigger than what I probably really am in real life, right? But in those things, you said all these other things that I do, right? Yes, I'm a financial advisor, but I'm also a real estate investor. I got Airbnbs, and I'm big in that business to the point I'm a superhost. It's the way of the society today, man. We're not where we used to be and what our parents used to be in that old American dream that we were sold, which is, hey, man, you get yourself a job, you work 35, 40 years, you get your pension and your Social Security, and you enjoy the American dream. That's not the reality anymore, man. And it hasn't been for a while, but it's becoming even more crystal clear in today and in today's time.
if anything to add, just like the retirement age is increasing.
It's increasing, man.
a
It's
lot of
increasing.
time.
And so it's mandatory. Investment is mandatory. And if you're not investing, you're getting behind and further behind the ball game. And if we're being real on this podcast, our people are at the bottom of that wealth gap anyway. And the only way we're going to be able to make up any ground is to take it serious and mandate it that we have to get involved. We got to stop sitting on the sidelines, man. I'm an athlete, guys. Everything with me too, you'll see me use a lot of analogies from a sports perspective of, man, you got to get in the game, coach. You can't sit on the bench forever, man. You got to get in the game and try some stuff out, man. Don't be afraid to fail. Just get out there, jump off the porch, as we would say, coming up, man, and get in the game and get involved because it's absolutely a necessity today.
How do we get here? Not only how did we get here, but how are we still here?
From what perspective?
From a financial standpoint, how?
Great question. Okay.
How are
we still so far behind?
Yes, and how are other sub-communities able to advance and come together and invest together? Because I feel like a lot of other, subcultures, sub-communities, different races, whatever the case is, they're able to come together.
Yeah.
Invest, put some funds together, and do that in a sustainable manner. Why aren't we able to do this? Is there something?
Simple. It's simple. It's not something that's big, long, and drawn out. My purpose and my mission in the advisory business is in particular, my passion is for our people. And the roadblocks that I come across when it comes to being able to get people involved in investing their money, in growing their assets, in venturing out and starting businesses and getting ownership is lack of education is one. But even bigger than the lack of education is trust. Our people have been so disproportioned and so diluted mentally to not trust anything. And in particular when it comes to money. We all got that family member who said, I ain't put my money in the bank. I got it in a sneaker box. Grandma used to keep it inside a bra. Like, it's just a part of the reality of what we came up in. My grandmother was that way. God bless her soul. She passed away last year at the age of 96. And she was big on that stuff, man. She would keep her money right here next to her pistol on her hip. Like, that's just the way that our people came up. And it's unfortunate, but that's just the reality of our people, man. It's the lack of education, first off. They're not educated. They don't understand what the stock market is. I heard I heard you could lose your money. It's a risk. They don't have the education. And then after that, they don't have the trust. Who can I trust that has my best interest at heart when it comes to my money? Who can I trust to help me really grow my assets the right way? They don't have that. And our community, we don't have a lot of people that look like me that do what I do either as well. And we need more of that. There's a lot of hoopers, a lot of ball players.
No, for sure.
There's a lot of rappers, athletes, and entertainers, but it's not a lot of people doing what I do that can come in the community and upreach and uplift and do that. So that's what it boils down to, man. Being honest with you, Moises, is education and fear. That's what holds our people back the most, is lack of education and fear.
I agree.
I definitely. Yeah. So what are some warning signs that you actually point out to your clients that show an investment might be too risky?
Great question. That, for me, comes down to two words, or I should say two phrases: suitability and just knowing your customer, right? If I have a client who is extremely risk adverse and I see you're researching, a startup company, that's just getting ready to go public for the first time, I don't know if that's a suitable recommendation for you. That's a warning sign there because you're more risk adverse. You need to be doing things that are more catered, that are safer in that way. And I talk about suitability, age, and things like that are important too, because if I have a 65-year-old client, right, that I'm working with, for me, it's just as important as protecting their money as it is growing, right? Because in my firm, my firm believes, and we do three things very well. It's about growing your money, protecting your money, but also leveraging it. And as you get older, yeah, you want to continue to grow your money so you can pass on a legacy to whoever it may be. But while you're still here, you got to preserve what you have, right? And that's a big part of me of learning signs of where your age at. What are we looking at? What is your goal and your end goal here? What does your legacy and your lifestyle look like to be able to advise on that? And that's a big thing for me, because I can't tell you guys what always touches me deeply in my heart is, when I go to places like ShopRite, or even bigger, or Walmart, right? And I do what I do in there, do my order, get my cart, I'm headed out. And, it's always somebody there before you exit waiting to check that receipt, right? How often does that person look like your grandparent or your elderly uncle or maybe your elderly parent, right? And that breaks my heart, because it's like, no one should have to do that at that age. You should be in a position where your money has worked for you enough, or is working for you enough to sustain and preserve you, that you doing something like this is an option and not a choice. How many times do you see a crossing guard that's 75, 80 years old doing it because they have to, right? And so those are the warning signs that I look at, is that, listen, we got to look at where you are in your age and what's suitable for you. And that's how I can deter you away, because once you reach a certain age, it becomes less about growing your money and more about protecting it and preserving it so that you can live off of it and have a comfortable retirement.
I like that. Okay. All right. So, all right. My next question to you, right? People often hear terms like market trends or diversification, right?
Okay.
How do you break those concepts down so your clients can actually understand them? So, like,
right.
I guess that goes kind of back to ETFs in a way, right? But how do you, like, kind of break it down, like,
in layman's terms,
yeah,
for lack of a better word? Yeah. So I like analogies, right? Analogies are
Make it,
huge to me. It's just an easy way to break things down, to let people see things differently. Like, I'm huge on analogies. So, right, when I hear the word diversification, right, the easiest way to break that down is honestly a quote that I'm sure we've all heard from some elder in our family at some point, right? When they always tell you, don't put all your eggs in one basket, right? That's just terminology we're all used to hearing at some point in time in our life. And that's what I look at when it comes to diversification. And when it comes to investing your money, you want to diversify. You should never put all your eggs in one basket, right? If I have a client come and sit down with me and I see they have 3 holdings and all they have is Apple, Tesla, and Google, those are good companies, and they grow, but they're a little aggressive, a little risky. And where's your protection? I'd be worried about that, right? And so that's what diversification is making sure that your assets that you are investing are diversified. But not only do I believe in just diversifying your assets within the stock market, I also just believe in diversifying your assets and having diversified investments, period. You read in my bio. Not only do I do financial advising, but I'm also in real estate. Airbnb space. I'm a proponent of trading cards and having art and other antiques and things that hold value, watches, whatever it may be. Diversify your investments. Don't put all your money in the stock market. Just like I would tell you, don't put all your money in real estate. Because, hey, listen, if the stock market isn't doing great, real estate may. If real estate isn't doing well, you maybe have, a collection of watches that have acquired and appraised in value that's higher. You may have playing cards. That's a big thing now, man. You guys are selling trading cards or athletes have value, and I think you should get involved in all of it and diversify yourself so that if one thing isn't doing well, you're not just solely dependent on that to be able to grow your wealth. So diversification is huge. And same thing when you hear like market valuations or valuation of a company, it's very simple. It's the same thing. I look at that like seasons, right? The seasons change, but it's the same cycle over and over again. We get the same 4 seasons all the time, right? We got winter, then after winter you're going to have spring, after spring you're going to have summer, and after summer you're going to have the fall. It's the same philosophy, man. And with market evaluations, it's the same thing. Is that the seasons change, but the cycle always stays the same.
So when it comes to investing, should the average person worry about timing of the market, or is consistency the smarter play?
That's a great question, and something that I love about our firm is we all are in agreement with this, and we express it to our clients all the time, right? That it's never about timing the market, but more so time in the market. Right? That's the philosophy that I always try to instill in my clients, and I'll break that down for you guys a little more, right? Where I don't have a crystal ball as a financial advisor, so I can't predict the future. I don't know what's going to happen, right? I wish I had a crystal ball and said you're going to make 15% every year for the rest of your life. I wish I could do that, but I can't. That's just irresponsible as a financial advisor, and that's just, you can't do it. But what I do know is there's a thing called the S&P 500 and other markets that have been around for 100 years, right? And in the 100-year history of the S&P 500, it's finished positive 75% of the time, right? So go back to my point of it's not about timing the market, but time in the market. The longer you have your money in the market, the more likely you are to see returns and see your wealth grow. Because more times than not, it's going to make money. When you're trying to time the market, you're trying to buy here, sell here, it gets a little convoluted. And I always support the strategy of what you're saying is a long-term buy and hold and stay in consistency using things like dollar cost averaging. I love that methodology of dollar cost averaging. A lot of our clients, we always advise or encourage them to put monthly deposits into their investments, right? Why? Because you're taking advantage and you're manipulating the market anyway, right? It's like going to the supermarket, right? And what's your favorite snack? What's your favorite brand of cookies?
I don't really eat cookies like that.
Yeah, I don't eat. I don't touch
What's your
cookies.
snack? What is a snack that you enjoy? Like, oh, that's like your guilty pleasure, man.
I ain't gonna lie. My guilty pleasure is Gushers.
Gushers, right? Cool. And if you go to a certain place, they'll have like those big bags of them, right? And they may be $3.49 for one. And every once in a while, you'll go in
you
there,
right on the money with it too,
right? $3.49, something like that, right? And every once in a while, though, you'll go in there and they'll have a 2 for $5, right? How likely are you to go cop that 2 for $5? Highly likely because you're getting more bang for your buck, right? Or the price of eggs today is $12, and then a month from now, the price of eggs drops to $4. How likely are you to get 2-3 cartons worth of eggs when it's $4 as opposed to when it's $12? That's what dollar cost averaging is. You're manipulating the market where you're consistently depositing and you're taking advantage when the market is low. You're taking advantage when the market is high. But at the end of the day, you're staying consistent because you understand that it's not about timing the market, but spending the time in the market. And over time, you will see your assets grow.
Time in the market, not time in the market.
So, all right. When we're talking about creating wealth, right? What do you tell your clients about the difference between like creating wealth and just having money in the bank?
Absolutely.
So how do you differentiate?
Absolutely.
How do you? Because like you said, trust is a huge factor, especially in our community, right? How do you break that down to people, and how do you explain to them like the key difference?
Honestly, cold hard facts. And the cold hard facts are, listen, money in the bank isn't a bad thing.
Right.
Right? Because, I mean, you put enough money in the bank, there are savings accounts and things out there, you can get 4 or 5% in interest, and that's good. Nothing wrong with making 4 or 5%. If you're happy with that, you're happy with it. But there's a thing called the cost of living in this world that goes up every year. Right? This thing called taxation. that you go get taxed. Whatever money you make, Uncle Sam's going to come call it for a piece of it, right?
Yeah.
And there's also this thing called inflation. This invisible thing called inflation that right now is like 8%. So you think about it, you pay attention to it, right? If you're putting your money, you're just leaving it in the bank, collecting 4%, 5% at best. But inflation's at 8%. You got to worry about taxation and the cost of living. You're actually behind the 8 ball. And so my message to people is that at the end of the day, you have to treat your money like an employee, man. It's got to be working for you 24/7. Like, your money has to work for you. And it's not working for you, at least hard enough, just being in the bank. So it goes back also to the principle that we spoke about. Listen, once you have over 3 to 6 months worth of emergency expenditures, you got too much money in the bank at that point, if you ask me. That's when you have to start investing your money. And it may be in the market, it may be in real estate, it may be in a business venture, whatever it may be. The principle at the end of the day is, like I said before, you have to treat your money like an employee. And what are employees supposed to do? Work for you. They got to work for you. You got to get your money working for you. I just give them cold hard facts like that, man, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Yeah,
So-
I see a lot of people kind of like you said this earlier. You said a lot of people on social media give they just listen to people to give and advice. Might not be the most whatever, but like they're giving people advice and it might not be. They're listening to it like with closed eyes, and it's just like without doing their own research. That's a big thing. People listen to a lot of things on the internet without any research. It's so scary. It's so scary to me.
Yo.
It's so scary to me.
Without any type of research, without any fact checking, it's dangerous. Bro.
Yeah, man.
It's dangerous.
I heard somebody told me one time, if you're keeping your money in like cash, you it's like you every day you kind of like lighting a bill on fire.
Absolutely.
Every day,
Absolutely.
because man, I don't think you mentioned the dollar devalue, like the dollar, right, the value
Because of
of
inflation,
the
the value of the dollar shrinks.
Right.
And if you're not investing your money, you're shrinking your money, which is just basically like you say, you're just putting some kerosene on your money,
just
lighting a
putting
match.
You're just lighting it every
blowing it
day.
up.
You throwing.
Absolutely. 100%.
So-
100%. That's a better analogy than I could come up with, honestly. I got to steal that one from you, bro. That's really what it is, for real.
So man, yeah, that I can't stress enough how investing is so important.
It's utmost
Like
important.
definitely important. Got to grow your money. So, from your experience, how much of financial success come down to behavior and psychology versus the actual numbers?
There's a movie that I love as a kid, bro, that I just used to enjoy as a kid. It's called The Little Giants. Not sure if you've ever seen the movie before, The Little Giants. Have you ever seen that
Is that
movie
a
before? Football movie, Little Giants, about these brothers. One was a great football player growing up. The other one was a nerd, and they challenged each other to create their football teams and see who could win a game, right? Great movie. If you haven't seen it, watch it. Little Giants. Awesome movie about building character and things like that. Excellent movie. And there's a line from the brother who was a great athlete in it, right? He was coaching the team that's supposed to have all the better football players and all that stuff in it. And the line he said in the movie that's funny but relatable and real is, football is 80% mental and 40% physical. Right? Now, that's oxymoron because it's only 100%. So if you got 80 or 40, that doesn't make sense. But that principle applies to the world of finance because, to be real with you guys, it is 1,000% a lot more mental and psychological when it comes to money than it is the actual assets and the money and the numbers themselves. It's all mental, man. Even being a financial advisor, as we spoke about before, what's our people's biggest issues, man? It's a lack of education and fear. So a lot of people ask me all the time, you're a financial advisor, you must be good with numbers, right? And I'm like, to a certain extent, yeah, but being an advisor is much bigger than that. It's actually about developing rapport and a relationship with people and getting to know them and who they are and their families and wearing different hats, man. One day I may be a financial advisor, the next day I may be a marriage counselor. Next day I may be a therapist, and next day I'm a travel agent. It's all these different things that play more into the emotional side of people and what I do first and foremost, right? And then when you think about the client themselves, absolutely emotion drives everything, man. Money means different things to different people, right? Some people are super emotional about money. Some people are a little more laid back about money. Some people come from money. More people than not don't come from money. So it absolutely is much more emotional than it is anything else because it's just that's the ebbs and flows of dealing with people, man. It's going to be emotional roller coasters. And at the end of the day, above all else, right, because of the emotion piece of it, nobody wants to lose money. Right? Who wants to lose money in there, right? Nobody does.
I
man.
lost 12,000 in Doge.
Come on, man.
I say that story every day.
Listen, nobody wants to lose money. Y'all know my buddy is Warren Buffett, man. Y'all know it's a couple of rules that he has to invest in, right? Rule number 1, never lose money. Y'all know what rule number 2 is? Refer back to rule number 1. That's just what nobody wants to lose money. And so,
Yeah.
you know, when you see the ebbs and flows and things that happen in the market, like earlier this year, you know, when the current administration put the tariffs in place and the effect that was having on the market, people get emotional about
Of
that,
course.
man, because, you know, so for some people, all they have is what they've worked for the last 25, 30, 40 years. And to see ebbs and flows, it's emotional for them.
Yeah, yeah.
As a financial advisor, it's my job to understand that it is mostly psychological. And you have those people who, you know, suffer from what I call paralysis by analysis. You know, they're just overthinking everything. You have those type of people as well. This is my job to kind of help steady the ship, man. I'm like the captain of the ship, and it's my job to help steady that ship when those moments happen and keep them disciplined and structured through those highs and lows, ebbs and flows, life changes, whatever goes on, is to be there for them and kind of steady that ship when that happens. But absolutely, it's much more psychological and emotional than it is the actual numbers. Because to be honest with you guys, the numbers actually take care of themselves.
I love that.
The
I love
numbers
that
take
answer.
care of themselves.
Man. I want to point toward the younger generation for a second.
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely.
When you talk to younger people or maybe even younger clients,
Mhm.
right? What's some advice you give to them? Because I know a lot of them might think, "Oh, I'm young, I have time," or investing. You know, when they hear investing, they start to or saving. They don't. It's not really a priority, so to speak. But what do you even say to them? How do you even open that door?
Well, first off, you're never too young to get started, like at all. Because even if you're young, you're too young to be able to even open up an investment account for yourself or anything like that. What you can do from day one is start to build the habits. What did I say? What did we talk about at the beginning, right? Is that people have a misconception that wealth is just about the money, and it's not.
It's not.
Your habits are just as important as the assets themselves. And so even for our younger generation, those kids that are just coming out of high school or still in high school, and one thing I give credit to our younger generation, man, is they are way more advanced than any of us are. Way more advanced, right? And they have access to things that even us, I mean, I'm 34, man, that we didn't have at the ages of 16 and 17 years old. So the level of access and information that they have today is ridiculous. Like, you guys know my best friend's ChatGPT. I'm sure it's y'all's too. Like, the level of access and information that these kids have today is just extraordinary. And I'm proud that they have it because it allows them to get a step ahead of the game that we didn't have. And, of course, prior generations to us had no clue about it all whatsoever. But start to build the habits and get started when you can, man. If you could put $10 away, put $10 away. Start with that. Remember the avalanche thing that we talked about? Like, that's about it. You're never too young to get started. There's never such thing as being too broke. It's about structure, discipline, creating good habits, and just starting, man. Just getting rolling, honestly.
For sure. Oh, real quick, how do you guide families on creating general wealth without overcomplicating it?
That's a good question. I think for our people, another problem that we have, man, and even registers with me personally and my family when I think about it. Like I told you guys before, like I come from a really good family with great structure, man. My parents have been awesome. They're still in my life today. I still lean on them for a lot of things
Yeah, I
in
met
life.
them. They're dope.
Right? You got a chance to meet them.
Yeah.
Awesome people, man. And they did great by me and my younger brother. They did awesome. But I think about a lot of the memories. I think about a lot of the good times and the things that happen in our lives. Very few of those memories, if any, result to sitting down at the table and talking about money. All right? And I think people don't realize that a part of an inheritance is financial literacy. That's a part of your inheritance, is making sure that the generation behind you is educated on what to do with whatever it is that you're leaving them, right? I have a fear, man, of passing away, and whoever my beneficiaries are, man, my wife and kids, if I have those in the future, is that I don't want to leave it to you and then you go spend it all on a Lamborghini Urus the next day. You know what I mean? Like that's a big thing, man. And you have to be able to educate and start building those principles and teaching the principles to your beneficiaries, to those that you care about. One, and start inviting your children and start inviting the people that you love into those conversations. If you are someone who has been having the ability now to have your money invested and you are growing your assets, bring your kids in on the conversation. We encourage it, man. Even new people, man. We have meetings with new people all the time, and they ask, hey, can I bring my son or my daughter? Yeah, bring them. Bring them to the meeting. It's important that they're involved in what's going on because you have to pass it down. And in order to pass it down, you got to make sure that they're educated. Because again, my salient point to that is that your inheritance is not just passing on the money, but it's also the education and the financial literacy. And then lastly, set up certain structures like a trust and things like that, so you can have a control from the grave that will help prevent people from doing what my fear is, which is taking all my money and running with it, selling all my properties and going to go buy a Lamborghini and moving to Colombia and just blowing it all. You got to do those things to kind of prevent that from happening. But those are my kind of 3 major structures around that.
There was this document, I forgot what it's called, that I have actually. It's basically like it's basically like when you want your company or even sometimes your family to function on its own, you create this document. It has literally everything
You need.
Invest, what to invest, how to keep the business running if the head honcho
is no longer here.
You know what I'm saying? Just instructions on how to keep everything flowing. I forgot what that document's called. I'm running anyway, but something like that is important to generational wealth.
Absolutely.
If I create this wealth, I make it a thing. It should have never last 1 generation, 2 generations. Make this thing go as far as it can.
Agreed.
This is you know what I'm saying? So I definitely agree with that 100%, right? So my final question for you, right, before we wrap up. If someone watching this episode wants to start changing their financial future today, what's the single most powerful step they can take right now?
Nike. What's Nike's slogan?
Just do it.
Say it again.
Just do it.
Just do it. Whether it's starting a business like I did. Because listen, I took a risk starting the Airbnb business.
Yeah.
It's flourishing now, but it was a risk to do that. I didn't know the business. I didn't understand it. I had no idea what I was doing. I had to learn on the fly. But at the end of the day, just do it.
Do it.
Investing your money. Just start. You want to change your life. Just start. It just all comes to a point where I think we all just have that, like Carmelo Anthony says on his podcast, that 7 p.m. moment, right? You all have that time in life where it's just that I want better for myself. I want to be better. I want to do better, and I'm just going to do it. I had that moment in my life, I love for people to know that I've never had it all figured out in my life. And it's okay to do that. I did not always walk the straight and narrow path that I try to do every day now, man. I tell people that all the time. I had my 7 p.m. moment, man. I was 25 years old, not even a little younger than that, baby. 24, 25, had dropped out of college, wasn't doing the right things, wasn't moving in the right circles, still living at home with my parents, and I had become an utter disappointment to them. Utter disappointment. And I think every child's biggest fear and the one thing that'll hit you the heart the most is when you disappoint your parents. You can care less about your friends and these people in the world that really know you, don't know you. When you disappoint your parents and your family, that hits you and it cuts a little deeper than anything else. Sure. And I was there. This is 10 years ago, man. I was there. And I'll never forget. I was doing things that I shouldn't be doing, involved in things that I'm happy to still have my freedom. And my parents came to me and kind of in their own little intervention. It wasn't a whole bunch of people who was just dumb. Came to me and said, hey, son, you have become an utter disappointment to us. And you have 90 days to get yourself together. And if you don't, you'll be on the other side of that door. Now, I'll be honest with y'all. 10 years later down the line, I'm calling their bluff. I don't think they would have really did it. But that was it for me. That was that moment of you got to start to figure this thing called life out and just have the Nike effect, man, and just do it. I got more serious about my life. I got more serious about my craft and my passions. And 10 years later, I look back and go, wow, I still got a long way to go. But look at where I'm at now. And it's all honestly just from that simple thought process of just do it, bro. Just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it. Yo, I really appreciate you for coming up here, man. You gave a lot of gems. I hope someone taste the gems, man. Take the value that you gave this episode, man. I really appreciate it, bro.
Yeah, man.
Take
If I
the
could give
gems,
any,
just
if
do
it's
it.
okay, if I give one more gem, man.
Go ahead, yeah. One more last
for
one.
sure.
And this is for life or whatever it is, man. There's a difference between being content and being complacent, right? I think it's okay, and we all should be content, because all contentment is again, is self-awareness and understanding where you are and appreciative for what you have and where you are in life. But complacency is a state of thinking that what you have and where you are is all you're going to have. And that's a dangerous place to be, right? I always tell everybody in life, it's okay to be content, but never be complacent, right? And I don't like anything complacent around me. I'm a very content person, man. I'm blessed. I'm fortunate to have a great career. I have an awesome family. I wake up every morning, man, next to one of God's greatest creations of all time, and we're building our thing together as a family, and it's awesome, right? And I'm very content with where I'm at, but I'm not complacent. Because I can always be better. I can always do more. I can touch more people. I can impact more lives. I can make different changes. I can grow personally, spiritually, physically. And I'm never going to be complacent with life. And so if there's any message I can give to you guys out there, it's that, man. It's okay to be content, but just never be complacent in life, bro.
Yeah. That's dope,
Love
bro.
that.
But yeah, man. Again, thank you for coming up here, bro. Michael Corbitt Jr.
Appreciate y'all, man. This was fun.
Yeah,
Do
for
it.
sure,
We got to do it
man.
again sometime.
Yeah, for sure.
We got to do it again.
Do it.
Yeah, man. It's the Value Million Podcast. I'm Moses,
Nell Lewis.
and that's a wrap, man. Thank you for tuning in.
Value, man.
Yeah.
Let's go, fellas.
Yeah.